We have already seen quite a few times how the custom fields appear in different entities, like in test cases and defects, but how would you actually go about creating them? Let's take a look. To configure your custom fields, you would need to go into the settings area and switch to the custom fields tab. This tab is going to show you all the custom fields you currently have created, and for those you have created, you can go and change their parameters or delete the custom fields. However, if you want to create a new custom field, you would need, of course, to give it a title. Let's say something like this. Then you will need to choose which entity it should apply to. You can go with either test case or test run or defect. You cannot really combine test case and defect, for instance. So if you want to fetch the same type of data for different entities, you will have to have two separate custom fields created for that. On the next step, you would need to choose the type of data that should go into that custom field. And we support quite a few different options, like multi-select or URL if you want to insert the links into the custom field. So all that goes. For different types of data, the options below are going to be different. So for example, for a text box, you can insert a placeholder to give a hint to an engineer what should go into that custom field box. And you can also insert a default value so that the custom field is automatically filled in with some maybe frequently used value. And if it's going to be something different, the engineer will just need to change it. For other types of data, the options, as I mentioned, are different. So for some, like multi-select or select box, you can make them filterable. What that means is that when you're back in the repository, for example, and you want to look up the cases that have a specific value given to it in a custom field, if it's made filterable, you will be able to do that. You can also make the fields required so that, for example, in this case, a test case cannot be saved if the custom field is empty, and you can make them visible or invisible. Since I'm going with multi-select, I can also insert my own values here. And if I want to reward them or delete them, it is entirely possible for me to do that. Now I want to create my new custom field, and let's go back to the repository for a second and take a look at one of the test cases I've been working on before. Now I have a new custom field appearing, vendor. It shows me that it's a required field with an asterisk after it. And since it's a multi-select, I can choose multiple values for it to be applied. I still have my review mandatory, so I will need to send it to review first to have those changes applied to my test case. And now back in the repository, if I want to look up the cases that have a specific value in this custom field, since I made it filterable, I now have it pulled up. And yeah, I can very easily find that test case with a specific value I'm looking for. Same goes for defects and test runs, so make sure to use the custom fields when there is some information you want to capture about those entities, but that we do not provide by default. The multi-select, for instance, also work as a pretty good solution for tagging. Since case does not have the tagging system per se, you can simply create a custom field with multiple values that could be used by tags and then apply it to your test cases. So that's about it about the custom fields. Let's move on to the next topic.